Good morning and welcome to a special Island Stat Sports Talk. I'm joined by current Female Athlete of the Year and Paralympian Jessica Lewis. Good morning, Jessica. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm hanging in. I'm hanging in. Can't wait for this year, this nightmare, this
Yep.
whatever it has been to be over. And I know the turn of the year won't just end this coronavirus pandemic, but it actually brings in a new hope that the
Definitely.
vaccine or whatever will change our fortunes globally.
Yeah.
But here lately, the Paralympics has been on the front burner. They've recently made some updates or given some updates and changes. One of the latest ones was they're asking the athletes to come in at a certain time and leave after events, sort of thing. I know you like to make sure that you're comfortable, and you're probably not the only one in the village that will want to be as comfortable as possible. But looking at the time frames that they're suggesting for the athletes, how much does that affect you and your preparation?
Yeah, I mean, so they're asking that you come in 5 to 7 days before your first competition, and then leave 2 days after. So that definitely impacts, the whole experience of the Paralympic Games, where some people might not even be there for the opening ceremonies if there is going to be one, because that might not be a possibility for next year. But definitely, it plays with your timeline a little bit on preparing for the race and just kind of getting used to the time change. And for us, the temperature won't be too big of a change because we are used to that warm weather. But for other countries that may need a little bit more time to adjust to that, definitely will have a factor in that.
Yeah. How much of the discussion and the, I guess, the outcome of what they're asking are the athletes involved in? I know you guys have an athletes commission, so how much of the athletes commission is involved in kind of negotiating these type of things? Because everyone's going to be a little bit different, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah, I think they're really involved. I know that I've been involved in a lot of different meetings on Zoom, just as an athlete rep for Bermuda. That just involves, a lot of the updates that are coming through just with COVID, and kind of the changes that they're making to the games. And they always open it up for discussion and getting people involved. And recently as well, I was just involved in the chat about the protesting, being able to protest at the games. So I definitely think that they are involving athletes in kind of every single aspect for Tokyo. Yeah.
How are you feeling about the games with the fact that they're pushing ahead with them? And I know how important they are to the athletes. Um, but how are you feeling about the 2021 Tokyo Olympics?
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of two minds. We work so hard to get to these games, and to have it being postponed was a huge setback just in this year. And to try and refocus and kind of look ahead towards the games. But it is also kind of tough to focus on it because there's still so much that could go wrong leading up to it that you don't know exactly if the games will go ahead. So it's just kind of praying that they will, and also being aware that we need to make kind of that decision if the games do go ahead, but still see what the situation is, if it's safe enough for me to go or anybody really. So just kind of keeping an eye on how things are going.
Now we know any normal time you would have been in a 2 year cycle to prepare for the Paralympic Games. That has been affected, but not just you, all your competitors have been affected in some way, shape, or form. How do you think performance wise, with what little time you're going to have to prepare, will affect you?
Well, I think I will be okay. I know that like this year has been really tough on the mental side of things. Just trying to stay focused and motivated. But I am very disciplined with my training, and I've kind of tried to view it as training is some form of normalcy. So to try and just focus on that and just focus on the new goals that we set this year and getting stronger and working a little bit more on my endurance for the longer races. So just kind of switching my focus has helped definitely to keep me motivated and still pushing through, this tough year. So I think performance wise, it'll be good, and I think I'll have a little bit more energy behind me because I will have that frustration of this year to fuel me a little bit more too. So
I'm trying to envision a frustrated Jessica on a track. I'm just trying to that determination, that stare, that grit. I'm trying to. Well, I've got that, so I've seen it. I think, but then when we look at how this pandemic has affected your sport and your fellow athletes, some of the things that you guys have missed, just the track side, because as we know, the Paralympics is just like the Olympics. You have many facets, many different sports, many
yeah.
different challenges, and so forth. But looking at the fact that you have so many people that will be affected going into these games, amongst you, the athletes, because you represent Bermuda for Para, what are some of the things that they are saying in that group chat that is kind of you can relate to in Bermuda as an athlete that they're struggling with?
Yeah. Well, one of the main things is just having to train on your own for a lot of the time. I mean, for me, being here, I'm separated from my teammates. We are doing a lot of Zoom workouts together, so we're kind of still seeing each other, but we're definitely missing, that camaraderie and that ability to, say, hey, keep going when, we're all struggling, or even just when we're in drafts, we always have a chat and catch up and that kind of thing. So I think that's definitely the major thing, and just trying to train. I mean, here I'm lucky that I can still get outside and train in that sense. But for this year, a lot of the year for the athletes in Canada was spent training on the roller. And usually we do that during the winter months, but to have that also in the summer when, they had their lockdown where they couldn't be outside, that's been very, very tough too. And just trying to stay focused that way.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
fact that you've missed a few meets or a few meets had to have been cancelled, even with the Paralympics being cancelled as well. Um, that time on the track racing
Mhm.
um, has been a big loss to many, hasn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And one of the things that I always keep saying is that as athletes, you're definitely fueled by the competition, and that's your main goal is to get to that level to compete and to see your competitors and see kind of where their training has led them for the year. So not kind of having that um, idea of where you stack up against them for this year is going to play a lot, I think, into 2021 when hopefully we will be able to be back on the track and seeing where this whole year has led us to compared to our competitors.
Yeah, I know Curtis would have penciled in quite a few events for you in preparation for 2021. What are some of the things he's talking to you about in preparation for the Paralympic Games?
Yeah. Well, one of the main things is just to continue to stay focused and follow our plan because the plan is what's going to help me stay focused as well as make sure that I am prepared to go as soon as these games take off when they do. So just trying to stay focused that way and stay connected with my teammates as best as I can to help as well keep the motivation going.
Yeah. Any meets? I know people are trying to put down meets, but nothing's been guaranteed because of the unknown. But any initial meets early in 2021 to see where you're at, as opposed to let's just wait and then get down the road and see where you're at.
Yeah. Well, I know that the first race of the season is in Dubai, I think in February. So that might be a possibility, but we still have to see kind of where everything is at going forward. But if not that, definitely we're shooting for Switzerland, which will be like April, May sometime. So hopefully we'll be able to go ahead then.
The good thing about both of those, the kind of warm weather, so it's something
Yeah,
that you comfortable.
definitely. Yeah, that may have a
How
bit
are
of
your
a factor
teammates?
in choosing.
Yeah. How are your teammates making out in Canada? Because now we know they've been under quite a bit of different rules for a longer period of time than we have. Um, they would have been kind of training alone in that in the winter mindset, even in the summer, haven't they? So how are
Yeah.
they getting along?
We're all kind of struggling, and our group is so close knit that it's been very, very tough not seeing each other on a daily basis, in that kind of sense. But we're all just messaging each other and making sure, checking in on each other, and making sure we're all still okay. And even after training, sometimes we'll talk for up to an hour, just just complaining or anything like that. And just to make sure, that we're all still mentally okay and checking in with each other. Yeah.
Yeah. The fact that you've been here so long, one of the rare times that you've actually been in Bermuda this long period of time, do you feel a change in your body when you're preparing for an event? Because although you're able to train, but not to the extent in which you would have been training like you would have been had you been in Canada in that kind of atmosphere, in that kind of environment. So do you feel a change in your body?
I mean, a little bit, but I think it's more that we're focusing more on the endurance side of things. So the change is kind of that I feel stronger, and I'm able to push further without stopping now. So I think in that sense, but I have also been working with Sergio at Positive Results, and he's been absolutely fantastic in developing a program to help me get back into the gym lifting weights. So that's definitely been a plus that I was able to add that back into my training plan.
So,
Yeah.
so we could see near July, August, we could see a much better 800-meter time because you're
Maybe we'll shoot for a better 400 time first, and then maybe 800.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see a good strong 400, and an even stronger 100 because that's your event. But obviously, with not a lot of activity going on, how do you find yourself looking back at footage of your starts? And because just like any other athlete, you have to perfect what you do in a race. The start is very important. The middle part is holding, and then the explosive finish. So, are you studying film of yourself at those junctions to make sure that when you're training with your coach and your teammates, that you're looking at those aspects to kind of make them stronger and better?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was actually just watching races from Peru the other day, and even just to kind of get in that mindset of a competition, and to just remember, what it feels like to be on the start line, and pushing as hard as you can to get going, and then accelerating. So it's definitely good to have those races to kind of motivate me, and see where I was in 2019, and hope that in 2021 I'll be a little bit faster than that.
Yeah. You remember Toronto 2015 when you won the first gold medal at the Parapan Games in the 100, and then last year in Peru. How would you evaluate the two performances? I know 2015 you would have been totally excited, totally thrilled. 2019 you would have been just as excited, but you would have looked at the two, and when you compare them, how would you evaluate your performance in both of those particular races?
Yeah. Well, in Toronto, I was actually just watching the interview that you did with Ken and I a while back. I was having a little bit of a moment missing him. So it was great to have that interview to kind of hear his voice and his encouragement. And he was talking about how for the race in Toronto, our goal was to, be ahead at the 20-meter mark, and I was. And we knew if I was that it was going to be a great race. So I think um, in that sense, being ahead by that point was a little bit better in 2015 than it was in 2019. But the competitors were also different in 2019. So our strategy was a little bit different in that sense. But for 2019, I know that my goal was to be off the line first. And I was almost first, but my acceleration, I think, was a little bit better than what it was in 2015 because I knew that I needed to pick it up a little bit more to get ahead. So I think in that sense, they were a little bit different. But I think my acceleration phase and being able to get my hands moving quicker and longer, faster, were better in 2019.
Mm. So you've seen the growth in yourself, and that's most important.
Definitely.
How has the Bermuda Paralympic Association been as far as getting information from the Paralympics Association in order to feed it down to you guys to ensure that everything that is being said, you guys are aware of, that there are no surprises come middle of January, mid-February, and down the road.
Yeah, well, they have been fantastic in getting the information. And we are, as the athlete rep, I am involved in a newsletter or things like that that are coming from the IPC. So I'm getting kind of information from B Paris as well as in the athlete rep role. So I think we're pretty good with where we are and where we're going for Tokyo. Yeah.
All right. So, well, when more information reveals itself from the IPC, we will stay in touch with you. And of course, we want to wish you and your family happy holidays. Enjoy
Thank
the
you.
races. But 2021, it's work back to hard work in
Yep.
preparation for that start line in Tokyo.
Yep, for sure. Happy holidays to you as well.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your day. Okay.
Thanks, you too.
All righty. Bye bye.
Bye.